Hey, I'm Lars. I'm the founder of Debitura. In this video, we will cover how you can use our API to send debt collection cases in the whole world. You can get updates and do a full integration with your own system. So let's get started.
To get your API key, you can do that in the top right side of the site where you click on Developers. Here, you can view all the different API keys you have created. You simply click on Add, and then you are simply ready to get started. You can click here to copy the API key. On docs.debitura.com, we have a full API documentation that should cover everything you need. If you want to go quick, you can simply go to the quick start and see how you create your first case. There is a very simple guide how to do it. And you can also find information such as authentication to how you make your request. A very important note when you test with the API is the concept of if it's a test case or not. If you go under environments, there is no separate test environment, but what you can do is when you create a case, you have the option to use the isTest flag. When you create a case with this flag, it will act like a real case, but it will not be sent to any real partner, so no real debt collection will happen on the case. And we do recommend doing this while testing the integration. To actually submit your first case, you can also click under API reference, the customer API, and under cases. And here there is the full documentation for how you create your first case. And if you scroll down here on the documentation page, there's a lot to show here. You can go in here and you can see there is this request tester. If you go back, you can use the API key we created before, insert that under the API key field here, and there is already an example preloaded on your account. And it's just very important that we validate that isTest is to true because it's a test case we are creating. And with that in mind, we can now send the API request and see the response. In our scenario, we got a 422 response. And that is because before you can send a case, you need to have signed contracts. You can also get this upfront by using the preview endpoint where you are able to, upfront make a test call to see what would happen. When you get a 422 response, we will have the option to have one URL where you sign everything. So if we now open this URL here, we can simply go up here and go to that page. Here you will sign the contract. The first contract will require you to sign the standard debt collection agreement. So here there will be a two-factor coming on your email. When that is confirmed, that one will be signed. And now everything has been signed. You can now go back and submit your case. We are now back. The API key is still inserted and we can send the API request. And now we're waiting for the response and we get a 200 error. We can now try to send the whole request again. And by doing this, we should get a 200 request back, which means it's been created successfully. And now you have all the information you need. You can see who will be the partner and so forth on the case. And it is that simple how you create cases with our API. The goal with our API is you can automate everything. If you ever have a need for some extra endpoints, there are logic we don't expose or similar, don't hesitate to contact us. We will happily evolve and extend the API as needed, so you will have every endpoint you need to automate as much as you want.